Hell yeah, it is.
Does it got a hole for your penis?
Please tell me that made it into the line.
No, it's got a stick for my penis.
I see. It's one of those.
It's
Yeah.
astounding these days.
I think that made it onto the stream.
We've been tweeting about it.
Hello, everyone.
My little boy. Hi.
Welcome to Jarviskjir Mother's Love, the most professional D&D stream on Twitch.tv. Everyone knows what they. It's the new people who's like, I've not heard about this stream. It comes highly recommended. I hear it's fine art. That's
It's
the first thing they see.
penis.
Sometimes it's an important question.
I was gonna say it.
As a whole, Neil, what do you think they pee out of? God.
That's how we get you. We lure you
That
in
thing
with
doesn't pee.
we lure you in with the urethra jokes, and then bam, emotions.
Now I'm a man who loves urethra more than the average man, but still. Oh.
Oh boy.
Hey everyone. Yeah, oh boy is right. As you can tell, we're doing just great.
At least you didn't say yikes. Because there was
I said
some
yikes before the stream.
I noticed.
Hey, and I was gonna say, Doxy replying, "Oh boy," kind of those like 90s, 20s expletives are my favorite at the moment. But it's not even a meme; it just happens.
I was
No,
like only semi-conscious
that's
for the whole
just
night.
me. I say shit like that. Jeez Louise.
We're the same
golly,
person.
Boy howdy.
Downs.
That's doxy.
Yeah, we haven't got quite to a zounds yet.
Or nuts. Or nuts is my favorite.
Man.
I love on nuts.
It's
On
yikes.
nuts.
It's been
So
playing
fine.
all night, falling in a pit. Yikes. Not even like conscious. It's just the noise that comes out of me when pain happens. So far. Anyway. As you can tell, we're doing great. You ready for another 4-hour shit show? I'm sure I am.
Hey, our shows end up being pretty good, alright?
We actually like
haven't
we can
nailed down.
manage the shit show energy and mold it into something brilliant. All right, last time.
You merely adopted the shit show energy.
I knew as soon as he said molded.
It was gonna happen.
It's,
I was like, oh,
it
no.
is it's like how I can't say dank anymore, but it's a really good way to describe caves. But I can't use it because someone goes. Someone has a giggle, and it ruins it for
Fuck
everyone.
around for memes. No.
Last week.
Roll a death save.
Last week, Roxfall. You went and faced Tanuma Bieras, the artificer, who is 5 people, and defeated her and managed to basically not completely eradicate her, show some mercy, allow them to live, even if going into hiding, but set up a trap for one of the other people you needed. You set up like part of a trap. You're like halfway there. You sent a message to one of the people you need to kill, Shellian, who is the High Priestess, who was far, far, far to the south, basically sending her a message to return. And now you are currently trying to set up an ambush to catch her on one of the long roads that go north to south through the Narashiro Caverns. And that's pretty much where we finished with it. You guys starting to explore that road and starting to look for an ambush point. It's quite important to remember in this territory, right, that outside of Narashiro, yes, there's civilization, but it is either small outposts or farming buildings, right? Or these towers. There's so small amount of people, you're more or less on your own most of the time, and the towers are really split apart. The terrain around is fungal forest. It's just stopped being a dry season, and the fungal forest is starting to bloom a little more, which is pretty. And really, while you're traveling on Beetleback, what is the plan? What are you doing? What's going on?
The plan for the assassination is, as briefly covered last week, we're going to find a stretch of road suitably far south, where there's only going to be one road and where we can fairly reasonably assassinate someone without being noticed for a length of time.
It was either without being noticed or where it'd just be such a tactical advantage.
Yeah.
It doesn't so much matter. Because you're going to be probably fighting quite a lot of people, so maybe not being noticed might be hard. Okay, well, it's quite simple. I'm going to need a survival roll. And we can do what we've done with a couple of these things, where basically 2 of you roll with advantage to represent the whole party is looking for places for this ambush.
Who wants to roll?
Apparently, Serena and Gilwyn is who you're getting.
You've got an advantage,
You
Dean.
had advantage.
You had
Dina.
one job. Explain
okay.
to you 5 seconds.
It's okay, we have to fuck up advantage once, and then it will never happen again for the rest of the show.
How did that get
No,
worse?
not even once. Never ever.
One moment. Cat's
Whoa.
being a raccoon, knocking over bins.
Okay, Gilwyn, I don't know why you had the human try and look for ways out.
Just get all your bad rolls out now, why don't
Because
you?
I would like to look.
Well, really,
I would like to.
we would kind of... I will allow it. Without advantage.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Without advantage!
Oh.
Don't you listen?
I've already got a 21! Jeez!
I know, yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, who said we managed this shit show energy?
It's being managed one way or another. Okay. As you're traveling, everyone's kind of looking out for places on the side of the road. Because as kind of has been described before, you can kind of travel incognito on the roads on Beetle, as Doxy is there. Undetectable. Completely casual.
Pass without trace.
Pass. I hate that and love it. Everyone's kind of... Everyone is trying their best. And I will leave it as that. But when it comes to being one with the darkness, Serena's senses are particularly adept at this kind of terrain. Especially now that it's started to get less dry. There's been the occasional rain, and straight up, much more clouds that often block out very twinkling stone light on the cavern ceilings. You are feeling much more yourself, Serena. And you spot a point that would be perfect for an ambush. It wouldn't be quiet. It would in fact be very loud, which is much more Serena's skill set anyway. You spot an area which... you gotta remember you're in a giant cave. There are stalagmites and stalactites the size of skyscrapers that you pass every few moments while traveling. You're traveling down a road that is paved, but it was probably paved thousands of years ago, and those pavings have kind of become natural stone again, if you know what I mean. The area Serena finds is almost a Nightmare Before Christmas style loop of cliffs that almost meet like a bridge above the road. It's really high up, to the extent that, yeah, other people with not so good vision in the darkness would be able to see it, but you're the one who can see that, oh no, that would actually be a very tactical place to stay. There's places to stand on top of this cliff, which is probably around 100 feet tall at the tallest part compared to the ground. There's kind of 2 sides to it, 2 cliffs, one slightly taller, one slightly less, broad and stuff like that. You can start you can get off the beetle and start sort of exploring this place. And when you climb up to it, because of the way the fungal blooms cascade light on the ground, essentially, you can see down very clearly. But you're already aware that it's not that easy to see on top of these cliffs, let alone see the sort of true proportions of the cliffs at all. Dark vision wouldn't give you enough detail out this far. So it's actually quite a nice spot. And gives you kind of 2 places either side of the road to set things up however you may want. There's fungal forest on either side of the cliffs as well. height advantage, lots of things you could use.
Yeah, cool.
Fungal forest on either side of cliffs that give us the height advantage.
You have the high ground.
I'm thinking if these cliffs are go up to a sort of 100 feet up, then we just sit Serena on top of one of them because half of my spells can reach over 100 feet. So I can just artillery and storm sphere and shit because presumably, as I said, there's presumably going to be a large group. So
This might be a dumb question, but does this fungus look funky? Does it look that?
All of it does.
Weird. Horrible.
Well, everything does.
Okay.
Everything look the fungal forest, and you may have actually not been here the first time I truly described it, right? Is first of all, nearly all of them glow one way or another. They're all clearly arcane, magical things that if you found on the surface would be super interesting and valuable. But down here, it's just how plant life grows. Maybe it's to do with the magical light. Maybe it's just how it is down here. But it is all weird. It would be all glowing different sorts of colors in the light. Some particularly giant, but not so much here. Some of it resembles more like a regular tree. Most of it resembles more mushroomy stuff.
Are there any like smaller? I kind of want to just take one for a valve.
Oh, absolutely. You can just take like a random sample, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I have some dumb questions too.
Mm-hmm.
So there are mushrooms as big as gigantic trees, yeah?
Yeah.
How feasible would it be to hollow one out and use it for shelter?
It would be entirely feasible. I mean,
Minecraft.
it would definitely be something someone with your strength could try, right?
And then also, how high up is this cliff that we're
This
on?
cliff is around 100 feet up from the road.
Okay, so what kind of fall damage are we looking at if I was to rage and jump
If
down?
you fall, it is a d6 damage for each 10 feet of movement downwards,
Okay.
plus you land prone.
Okay.
Because if you
no.
are deliberately
Dark
jumping,
Punching attack.
well,
I-
if you are deliberately jumping, I may allow you to try and make, an athletics check to, land on someone and make them take half of the damage or something like that. Because if you're deliberately jumping instead of falling,
Okay.
right?
All I needed to know.
Yeah.
All right,
It's-
and Vera will
it's-
suggest hollowing out a mushroom for shelter.
Okay. Sure. That's actually a pretty clever idea.
Shelter, and it should keep us hidden from prying eyes. They will not look for a tree in a forest, as it were.
All right. Gonna need survival with advantage. I imagine this is an Indira and Serena job. Indira's strength, Serena's actual secret sculpting skills.
Yep.
So survival from advantage from one of you. Indira. I think Serena has better in survival.
I do have slightly better advantage. Sorry, I was about to answer something in chat, but roll that first.
Don't worry about them. That's not great. And what that really refers to is that this task is much bigger than you thought. You actually go up to one of the largest ones here, which is almost the fungal equivalent of a great oak tree, right? But the wood on the outside, this fungal wood, and you've seen... Only now do you really clock that, oh yeah, a lot of the stuff that you saw in Narashiro was built out of this material, is not as tough as if this was actually a great oak, but it's still quite a tough substance, and is a strange substance. You're trying to be careful not to inhale too much of the spores, because who knows what could happen. This is going to take a couple of days of you making this shelter, but you don't know how long you have. You might have weeks of wait.
Yeah, I would just get to work. I would just start doing it.
So if you two are making this shelter, you're going to want someone watching. And is there anything else anyone wants to do separate from that? Right?
Vale's happy to keep watch, but is this road a proper road, or is it like a dirt road at this point? What are we talking here?
You can give me a perception check. Say while they were doing that, you were kind of looking over the road, seeing how this road functions. So it is a main road that basically goes nowhere, right? So it's wide. It has sort of the fence markers. The fungal forest doesn't grow over the road as you've seen on some of the less maintained ones. But there doesn't appear to be any major settlements all the way down past this. So you haven't seen anyone going back and forth in the 4 hours or so they've been trying to work on that, right? It's as close to an abandoned road as you're probably gonna find.
So is it like a stone road or
Yeah.
cobble road? Yeah. Okay,
It's kind of a. I described it earlier as like this was probably paved, but like 1,000 years ago, so it's kind of all sealed up.
So I mean, the main reason I ask is that could Indira just mold earth to turn it into difficult terrain?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Vale obviously is aware that Indira has this skill and would suggest that if in a canyon we have like a 30-foot stretch of difficult terrain, that gives us the perfect time to just launch. I mean, or 60-foot, but it depends on how long we have, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A
And,
30-foot stretch of difficult terrain would take, what, half a day's work with mold earth, probably?
Now,
like-
yeah, no, it wouldn't take that long. But I do just want to check whether that thing for Mold Earth lasts. Because in some
An
cantrips it
hour.
doesn't last for long. It only lasts an hour.
But I would
I-
have no problem taking a break every hour and just fucking cast.
Especially like maybe on the way up to your cliff, just you know,
But,
and
like,
around your camp and stuff like that. Absolutely.
So mold earth, it only lasts an hour. Are you
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's how
Well-
most of these cantrips work. It's a temporary amount of time.
Yeah.
While
but-
this is a good idea, do bear in mind that if there is a large group of people coming through, which is what we're assuming, I will immediately be dropping a storm sphere, which is all automatically difficult terrain. So it admittedly that's only a 20-foot radius, but
You've seen how much that can cover.
yeah, that can cover a lot. So
the
But
loose,
hear me out. Double difficult terrain.
the loose earth becoming it doesn't like have a timer. It's the shapes, colors, and whatnot has a time that lasts for an hour, and no, it does. Sorry, I read the wrong bit. It does last for an hour. I read the first bullet point. I wanted the third bullet point.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
You can still use it.
I could only do 10 feet of it, by the way.
Yeah.
So
you
maybe
can
we'll
use
just
it
rely
to.
on the storm sphere, whatever.
Yeah.
Fine.
Does
You can use it to block tactical moments because the kind of for battle rat reasons. There's essentially a way up the cliff for you guys going up and down. You could block most of that with that, you know. Before
Does
a
Storm
fight.
Sphere obfuscate the views of those who aren't in it?
I believe it's obscured, but not completely
technically.
destroys
There's
vision.
no rule about it. It only affects hearing. But I mean, if Ollie wanted to rule that it makes a difference, 'cause
I've
it is a
usually
raging
been
storm.
using it as very obscured, but they can still see in and out of it.
Yeah,
So
which
it's
is entirely
lightly-
reasonable
lightly
because it
obscured,
is.
is
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
You are so bitey right now. Why are you
Sorry.
bitey?
Yeah.
She's
Too
she's-
bitey, Dean.
She's got a
Alright,
sharp.
so, those two are making a shelter. Vale is on watch. What's Gilwyn doing?
I think Gilwyn would want to help Indira and Serena with the
Okay.
mushroom. In fact, he'd probably like volunteer to like decorate the inside of it. We're staying there for a while.
It's great. You have like a very strong and a very talented woman, like Serena kind of removing sections, and Indira effortlessly pulling them out and then kind of putting them over to Gil, and he's like, like dumping them
Put
in a
it
pit.
here. It's a vase now.
Serena, can you give me a perception check real quick?
Perception. Okie dokie. Regular.
Mm-hmm.
Perception.
Perception. Okay.
Okay. Probably don't see much.
Noise.
So it takes you. It's kind of hard to tell how long a day is down here, right? There's no cycle of light The closest there is a cycle of weather, and Dean just being a
I was just
maximum
looking
weirdo.
at Dean like I've gone to my
No,
eye.
I'd seen it. I was aware of it, but
I got a little print screen of it. Don't worry, guys.
okay, good, thanks. I appreciate that.
Sorry.
Oh,
But you think based on it takes 4 sleeps for you to build this shelter to be usable for everyone. Definitely during those middle nights, you can have Vale kind of up in the tree while you guys are inside it. But this Zerkwood tree is massive. It's a huge thing. So you can all quite easily hide out in the hollowed center. During that time, Vale, you do actually see the occasional thing. You do see what looks like a forward scout, essentially. A drow riding a giant tarantula-like creature, skittering very quickly from south to north. Which I imagine you would just kind of let pass. Be like, okay.
Yeah, well, there's no point letting them know we're there. I would let the others know that there are scouts and we need to be careful.
It's while you've been doing this that, Serena, you become aware of a presence in the darkness around the forest. It took you a little bit of time, you're working hard, but kind of once everything is done, you just feel drawn to one particular tree. One that isn't glowing like the rest of them, and the more you look over this strange fungal growth, you realize it's almost sucking in the light and creating darkness around it. It's almost projecting that shadow. When you go up to this, when everyone else isn't really paying attention, you see a long, dark snake twist from around one of the branches of the tree and kind of lower its head towards you. It's actually, it's the size, I was going to say the size of a normal snake, it's the size of a python or something. And the face is snake-like, but there's also something draconic about it. There's almost places where horns should be. There's small, very, very small, very delicate chain wrapped around some parts of this creature, almost like jewelry. And its eyes are just pools of darkness. And the snake kind of flicks its tongue at you, and it kind of has its head leered down when it's wrapped around one of the branches and says, Serena, I bear a message for you.
Go on.
I understand that this is not your place and not your battle, but we believe completing it will bring you to your true strength. You'll gain power in this fight, and when it is done, you will find our people on this world in a place only inhabited by vagabonds and privateers and those who reap the sea. And then, you'll be ready to meet more of your sisters.
That is good to know. I had no intention of abandoning this path, but if it will bring me to greater power, all the more reason. Ollie, and as Ian, I can guess that means Bilgewake. Does
Yes.
Serena know enough about
I think
Bilgewake?
Serena
Yeah.
would know, and as in pirates,
Trarnites, basically.
as
yeah.
Trarnites and pirates, you have know of Bildrake, but most likely not been there.
Yeah, fair enough.
The snake kind of flicks its tongue again, and kind of moves to kind of be laying across the branch and says, "It's not long now for your mother to awaken, and all of you should be ready to return. We wouldn't want you to miss it."
Serena smiles slightly and nods. My gratitude for the wonderful tidings. I should get back before they suspect anything.
It nods and almost recedes back into the tree until, with the darkness around it and the darkness of the serpent, you can see it no longer.
Yeah, I'll return to the others.
My baby is asleep in my arms right now. He's so cute.
It's the same things happening with Vale and Gilwyn. Humans need to sleep. It's so cute.
Getting the lap pillow.
Yeah, and I imagine Serena doesn't bring up anything about that.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't bother to mention it. She would probably sort of like in idle conversations start like subtly just mentioning things like, after all this is done, perhaps we can check out Bilgewake sort of thing in a very Serena-ish way. Like, it's always been interesting, a city of pirates and the like, sort of just to implant the idea in minds. But
I imagine I've spent a lot of time there.
Oh, I was gonna say probably not, but then who knows how old Indira is? So yeah, it is the other side of the world from Tron, but then Indira's had God's knows travels and troubles through time. So you've probably been there. I imagine Serena hasn't, but you probably have. It's a ways away.
Oh yeah, it's terribly exciting. We should totally go.
condensed RP.
Yeah, well, you know, it's important, but not important yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at this point, it's really just watch. I'm going to need Vale to give me a perception check. And now that this building is done, what would the rest of you be doing?
I have a thing I would like to be thinking about or working on or doing.
How many perception checks?
Just one for now.
We observed that giant bat in the oasis-like area, and I assume we've probably seen the odd one here and there. Otherwise, we've been traveling for a while.
You would see both bats, giant, large, and extra small, kind of in the light every now and again. They usually roost too high up for you to see, but you would see them in flight.
That's fair. Can I reason out, or maybe based on that one that we saw at the Oasis, maybe sort of half following a couple, looking for a couple in the nearby forest without going too far? Firstly, what they feed on, because I assume this isn't something Serena would know, particularly the giant bats.
I suppose that'd be an animal handling check.
You roll a 1, you're going to find out they eat fish.
You don't see much of them feeding. You mostly see them in motion. For now, it will retain a mystery.
Okay. But I would like it to be known that I have my eyes on them.
You're keeping your eye out for bats.
Yeah.
It's not weird, it's cool. What about the the idiot and the idiot? What are you two doing?
Baby woke up.
That's Gilwyn and Indira, by the way.
I would be talking to Riley, trying to learn what I could have undercommon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she can kind of start giving you a primer of that. Oh, I think you've actually already been doing a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Anything interesting, Gilwyn?
Muted. Sorry about that. I think Gilwyn is not really an artist, but I think he'd like make sketches the best he can of fungal forest, just because it's pretty amazing and he wants to remember this.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
just
totally
sketching everything out
in a journal.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. It's quite a bit of time of waiting. It's not quite another week, but that means altogether you've been spending about a week here waiting. What's going on, Mr. Neil?
But while Vale is watching, obviously he's not like constantly just staring at the horizon. Could I also have a flick through Jang's notebook?
Yes, specifically about Chelian, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom or intelligence roll. That's a good idea. I'm glad you interrupted me.
Nice.
Oh,
Good job.
Funnily
Julian
enough,
suddenly appears.
You get a little bit distracted when you go through this book because the section on Chelian is very raunchy.
yeah.
It seems that she... and you've seen a lot of usurper elves kind of embrace... they're a very sex-positive culture. Embrace that kind of feminine sexuality, especially to a sort of religious extent. And Chelian is a very devout practitioner of that. Her place as a high priest is this sex idol who is rumored to have all kinds of concubines and lovers across the world and things like that. And there's like snippets from like books she's written about her prayers and things like that. And it's a bit much for young Vale. And his experience.
Gilwin's like, oh, it's raining. Oh, rain's white.
Yeah,
Yeah, I went there.
Oi. But after about a week of being here, you're sitting up there on the top of the cliff, Vale, looking and reading. You see something traveling from south, and there's been so few people coming from the south that you know it's got to be Chelian's entourage. First is a wave of 3 or so more scouts on Spiderback. You let them pass. They're not your target, and there's quite a berth between them and the actual main entourage. But the main entourage is strange. You don't first see troops moving. You see this large pyramid prism shape floating down the center of the road. It's not going particularly fast, probably slower than a beetle would. As it gets closer, you see it in more detail. It's kind of a almost pale blue metal. It's very, very well decorated, and you realize it's a palanquin. And inside, most likely, is Chelian and, according to this book, most likely some friends. It's floating a good 20 feet above the ground, and that's from the sort of ground level of it to the ground. It's got a sort of pyramid shape on the bottom, of course, of this kind of delicately patterned metalwork. All of it is... There's a little bit more artistry to it than a lot of the Arcana tech you would have seen Tanuma done. A little bit more religious grandeur to it, right? Kind of that web-like pattern. It's not completely obvious, but it's nestled within the artworks of it. There are curtains that cover all the sides of it, and only seems to be an entrance at the front, which has curtains drawn right now. And it's very tall, which makes it this tall pyramid prism thing that floats. As it gets closer, you see the entourage, and it's very small. There are... In fact, Vale, why don't you give me a perception check to see exactly what's coming before it's coming? Now, all of this, of course, behind the palanquin is a bunch of cargo beetles carrying things. You're going to see that there's not that many people, around 6 or so. From up here on the cliff, they're kind of vague shapes, and you want to be able to see quick enough to be able to tell the rest of the group, who are down in a tree, that this is coming.
Don't I own a spyglass?
no.
This
I think
comes
it was
up all the
really-
time.
It's
Really
because they
expensive,
cost like
wasn't it?
1,000 gold.
You want a spyglass, but we've never got you one.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe we should just buy one. Maybe we should all buy one with like matching.
Now you have enough money. It might be. I mean, also you're pirates.
Crazy to me that Indira wouldn't just have one.
They're
But
1,000 gold, right?
Yeah.
And there's you're always having to pay like to keep the ship maintained and stuff.
Why?
Like,
Why
Totally.
have a spyglass when you can have cartographer's tools, right?
so Vale,
Yeah.
you see this?
Vale's gonna hop on down the tree. They They look like they're on the way. There's rather a large sort of floating platform.
Platform, like people are stood upon it, or
he blushes. He like goes a sort of dark bronze. The curtains are drawn, so I don't know what they are doing in there.
curtains.
Yes, curtains.
Oh, so it's like a chariot type thing.
Like a palanquin.
Oh, okay, right.
Yes.
When you said platform, I thought you meant like literally a platform floating.
I mean, it is a platform floating with a triangle underneath and a structure on top.
Okay.
Are you happy now?
Yes, I'm making sure.
There's like 6 people on it, probably.
Yes, they are approaching. We should probably leave the bickering.
Yeah, so how are we going to get onto it? It's
I will point out, those 6 people you saw were on the ground in front of it.
Oh, yeah. Retcom.
Yeah. Just want to make sure you knew.
I was just gonna jump.
What if you miss?
That would be very bad.
By the sounds of it, it is a large palanquin. I
Yep.
do not imagine that a jump from 100 feet is that easy to miss.
It's also floating. It reminds me of Tanuma's Arcana tech. You have no idea what else it might do. If someone sees you coming, they might hit a button and, I don't know, a razor-sharp mesh might come out and Indira just, like, mincemeat.
It could be like an arcane balloon bubble shield around it.
Yeah.
At any rate, making it up that cliff is not that quick for me. If we are taking the positions that we assumed we would, I should get going and be prepared up on top of the cliff.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. So, how are we going to get down there, guys? I do not want to just jump like Indira.
You do not necessarily have to accompany me on the cliff. If you're in the forest either side, I lay down my spells and you can charge in.
I could.
Someone up there with you in case somebody comes to attack.
Serena will be fine. She's very capable. Not to mention, we can't make a 20-foot jump.
Vale, for lack of a better word, if you want to go, or whoever wants to go with me, for lack of a better word, I could just ping us onto that platform. I can only do it once. We can't get off.
Oh, I just remembered. Barenthor has lent me his wings. I
I'll
will
go
be
with
fine.
you, Gil.
Okay.
Riley will, as like Serena's leaving, like put both arms on Serena's shoulders, like, I'll keep you safe.
Why, thank you. Serena says, looking sort of like... She's still not overly fond of Riley.
I think that's why Riley would go for the double shoulder grab.
Yeah.
That is a very right.
Okay, so I will sort of position you in a bit of a middling space.
Someone mentioned Necrons. As soon as you said there was like a floating thing, I was like, Necrons.
If you imagine it kind of a bit more, like it's a lime blue and it's a bit more delicate, but yeah, there's a little Necron to it. Never scared to have a little Necron. Okay, so let's have a party as the palanquin and the entourage grow closer. Can you roll initiatives, please? It's going to be a little awkward one, but here's the battle map. Serena's up here. They're down there. And she's down there.
Core, normal, and
Oh no, I rolled initiative before the tracker was up.
That's fine, as long as you're on the board. Like, as long as you're on the right board, it's fine. Oh, no, it's not. Wait.
Well, I got a 14. You want me to re-roll it? I will, if you want.
I think we're good. I did a whoopsie. But that's fine. I can fix it. Maybe.
Classic move. No, I never fuck that up.
No, this was me.
I
No, so
never fuck up.
what it is if you roll initiative before I change the battle map, that's the problem. because the initiative is stored on a battle map basis. So you can end up with problems if we do that. But luckily you all avoided it. But I didn't clean my initiative order properly last time. I'm a dirty, dirty boy.
You're a dirty, dirty boy.
Alright.
Dirty, dirty. Futurama's the shit.
Futurama is the shit. There's very few shows where, like, every episode is good in some level.
Breaking Bad is one of those shows.
Scrubs.
I need to rewatch Breaking
Scrubs.
Bad before I have a good opinion on it. There's a few... I don't think any Scrubs episode is bad. There's a few are not as good, but I don't think any are bad. But that's just because the cast is so good, right? Which is the same with Futurama and most other things. This is going to take a little bit. I've got a lot of moving parts to roll initiative for.
Love that we're doing this 10 minutes before the first scheduled break.
Well, that's kind of why I'm setting it up. And then we're going to take a break. Really.
Okay.
We're not going to go far. I kind of want to just set up the initiative, see kind of what that's going to look like.
Let Doxy sass though.
Oh, I'm gonna assume that I'm full health right now.
Yeah, you've had quite a bit of time asleep.
Okay.
Are we on ground level?
Yes.
Okay.
Serena is up on high.
Okay. Scratch what I said about pinging then, because I misunderstood where I was. That's my bad.
Well, if you would wanted to stay higher up, you totally can. Really, if you would want to be up on the cliff, you totally can.
I would just be following Gil, so it's
Oh my
really your
God.
call, dear.
She's got red hair. You know, I never expected that.
Gil
That
would
is
be
the
like,
most shocking thing.
I'm not much of a fighter. I need a little bit. I think I would be better suited to be further up. You need to be down here with Vale.
Yeah. Yeah, this is basically like you're seeing them approach and you're trying to get in the right position. So if you want to move yourselves on these maps, as long as they don't get moved. Basically, like, if you want to move yourselves like around the cliffs, maybe want to try and get to the other side of the cliff if you really wanted as well.
How high is that? Is that like...
The cliff where I'm standing is 100 foot off the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
But am I now at 100 feet?
No. I suppose
Yeah.
up here would be 100 feet.
Yeah.
You've got to imagine
but
this is
where
all a
I'm-
curve, right?
Gotcha, yeah. I'm happy around...
Fried rock.
As long as I'd be like
But
level or
with
just above
Dark
them
elves.
from where I am, Ollie.
So would the other two want to kind of be with you?
It's up to them. I don't know what Vale and
Indira wanted to follow you.
Well, I thought that the plan was to dimension door, but if he doesn't want to do that anymore, then I would stay down here.
I think
with
he's just
Vale.
getting in a better position.
I just
Get
want
the squishies out of the squish area.
yeah.
The death pit, the valley.
I want to look at it like it's an RTS. That's what Gillen wants.
So we presumably can't start at the bottom without being spotted. So we'd have to be starting at the top, I think, Docs.
Well, 20 feet up, right?
The palanquin is 20 feet up off the ground. The cliffs are 120 feet at the top, but if you're like where Gilwyn is, then that would be around 120, I suppose.
Okay, yeah, I'm doing my Dark Souls plunging attack. It's happening.
So we'd probably start like what, down here-ish on the cliff.
That's not the cliff.
That's not cliff edge.
That's
Up above.
way... Yeah, the cliff is up.
North.
The cliff is this cliffy-looking thing.
Oh, because to me this also looks like a cliff because it
No,
runs like
yeah.
you know, like a valley. I mean, I'm not.
Oh, I get you.
That's,
But yeah,
that's
it's not.
why I thought it was like a valley.
No, it's too... tight little
Yeah, I'm getting
tallies.
my fucking plunging attack, boy.
Okay, alright. With that as the setup, we can take a quick break and then we'll start after this, which is good. This allows me time to open all my books to the correct pages. So, we'll be back in a moment.